Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears and your eyes. Diva Divine Light, live from Brooklyn, New York.
With no delaying to what you saying, yo. Said it with my 9 million with the dilly, yo. When I be on my yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club, I be while in the studio. You don't wanna violate, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. Like a nigga that'll slap me with the tulio. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, look at shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way you shake it, make me wanna get all in the booty, yo. With no delaying to what you saying, yo.
Diva Divine Light.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you.
You're watching Diva, the Divine Light. A fun-loving, caring, passionate person who talks about sex, celebrity, and real-life issues, and even abuse. So hit that like button and make sure you share the show.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see, that's what you got for me. Put more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you.
Here comes the pitch, and it comes in wide. On the combo.
Yo, 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 yo. Microphone check 1, 2. What is it? Hello. Good evening, everyone. Who's in the building? C.O.V, Cloud Daddy, Fat Boy, Miss Kentucky, Vanetta, Shorty, rocking with the truth, Bev. Hello, ladies in the chat and gentlemen. Hello, everyone in the bushes. This 504 girl, hey, what's up, mama? I hope everybody's been doing good. I haven't seen you guys since New Year's Eve. What's happening? I see these streets are kind of quiet. Still a little rowdy, but quiet. This is good, I guess. You know. So, Jaronda Pace. Yes, please, everyone, hit that like button on your way in. Thank you very much. And if you would like to donate to the channel, the information is scrolling on the bottom of your screen. I have Zelle, I have PayPal, and I have Cash App. As well as you can also hit the super chat and donate to the channel if you would like to donate. You guys already know what it is. And please make sure you hit that like button. Cat! Oh my God, Cat, I forgot to call you back, mama. You know that? Hi, baby. Welcome, baby. Welcome. So, Jaronda Pace went on her Instagram as well as her YouTube channel, and she spoke about how she feels about testifying against R. Kelly. And she said she regretted it. And I thought it was very sad. Hi, Ruby. So I thought it was very, very, very sad. I got very upset. You know, this is a thing that happens with a lot of victims, survivors. They go to court or they don't go to court. Why? Because either they're intimidated by people on the outside surrounding the case, like these pea hives, because that's what I'm going to call them, pea hives, because those are the ones, the flying monkeys, the pea hivers. Those are the ones that go out and attack and attack and attack. So I'm going to say the pea hivers. So all you pea hives, leave Jaronda alone, along with all the other girls. Please do me that favor. Do yourself a favor. Have some fucking dignity. Have some scruples in your life. Leave these girls alone. T-Bam. What's up, mama? So, everybody's always using, we have some people out here that are supporters that like to use God in reference, to this whole situation and prayers and all these things, right? God is in control, right? Well, before we start this commentary, we're going to say a prayer. Okay? I have this prayer, and I'm going to use my read along because I don't have my glasses, guys. My glasses are broken, so I'm walking around like a blind bat right now. I got to get my glasses. So, I'm going to let the read along read, okay? And we're going to bow in prayer, okay? All right. And it's prayer. It's a prayer against forces of darkness. Okay? Forces of darkness and people who deal with pedophilia. All right? So we're gonna read it aloud. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear it loud and clear. Okay? And sorry about Josh in the background. Y'all already know.
Prayer against forces of darkness / pedophilia. Father God, we thank you that you've given us power and authority over all the power of the enemy, and we exercise it now. We bind, rebuke, and render powerless Satan and his entire kingdom of darkness. We ask that you continue to expose Satan's agenda and sexual predator agenda in Hollywood, with the elite, with the internet, and everywhere in the whole world. In the name of Jesus Christ, we bind, cast down, nullify, and bring to naught every evil work of pedophilia and child sex trafficking. Sex trafficking, and any way or form of the harm of the innocent, we give charge to the mighty angels to expose every secretly devised plot and plan, expose the vile harm of children. As the Apostle Paul declared blindness upon the agents of darkness in Acts 13:6-11, we too speak upon these perpetrators, blindness, incapacitation, and paralysis, holy conviction. We decree that they will grope about as one in darkness, so their plans will not be carried out. We loose the angels to go now and tear hell's kitchen wide open. We stand the angels around every child in Jesus' name, and cover them with a hedge of protection that no evil penetrate. We thank you that all their evil deeds are being arrested right now, in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, your will be done. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Amen. That's going to be our prayer. Every time I come on, I'm going to say that prayer. Okay? That's what we're going to do. So now that we got our daily prayer out the way. Yada Dada! What's up, mama? Hey, baby. Excuse me for that, y'all. Hey, Aisha. I hope everybody's good. So now that we got that prayer out the way, we're going to be doing that. Okay? I wanted to share my screen with y'all. I got a video here. And it talks about witness intimidation. Okay? So it's a quick little short little video. It's from Fox 45 Morning News. And I found it on YouTube. And I just want to share it with you guys. I do not own the rights to this video. It's a Fair Use Act. I'm just sharing it for commentary, criticism, research. Okay. Let me share. Okay. All right.
Last week in a Baltimore courtroom, a witness is on the stand giving testimony when they're threatened in front of the whole courtroom by the defendant. In another case last week, a witness is attacked and beaten in court by the person they were set to testify against. Defense attorney Steve Allen joins us this morning with a look at witness intimidation just run amok. Good morning.
Good morning, Patrice.
It seems like we're hearing about more and more of these cases, and they're getting just more and more brazen. Is that what's happening? Is the frequency going up, or are we just drawing more attention to it these days?
Well, I think the frequency is going up. You know, with the stop snitching videos and the bombings of people's homes, this whole thing seems to be just getting out of hand. This is probably the most serious problem facing the criminal justice system today, because witness intimidation makes the system inoperative, and it creates the problem of where do we go from here? How do we crack down on crime if the people who are victims of crime are unwilling to step forward?
Are the laws about what will happen to you if you intimidate a witness, are they just not there, or just too lax that gives these people the feeling that they can do this in an open court? You know that, everybody is seeing that. Why would you take the chance on doing that?
The laws are there. It's a societal problem. It's a cultural problem. What's happened is we've created a culture where people are being terrorized both in the courtrooms and out of the courtrooms. And it really, law enforcement is almost powerless, it seems. It goes really into the community. When we start endorsing things like the Stop Snitching video, we're essentially saying we as a society approve this type of conduct.
It does seem like, what do you do about it? Because when you have prisoners in jail with cell phones that can then call their friends and buddy and say, hey, this person is testifying, go fill the courtroom and make sure they know that we're there. Short of stopping the cell phones in prison, how do you prevent something like that from happening? I mean, what is the next step that has to be taken?
Well, the cell phones are a serious problem, but it's beyond cell phones. It's really the public has to step up and say, we're done with this and we're tired of it. It's a situation, look, you're always going to have some level of witness intimidation, but this is a national problem. We've had a lot of problems in Baltimore, but I was recently in court in Philadelphia where they just don't give out people's names because they're afraid of what may happen to them. This is a problem in all of our big cities and in the other areas of this country. You have to enforce the law. You have to take people who do this and essentially throw the book at them.
What are the laws? What does it say now? If like this person who intimidated someone in court, while they're on the stand, what could be the punishment for that kind of person?
Well, there are witness intimidation statutes, various statutes, 5, 10, 15-year penalties, and the courts will enforce that. And in the situation in the courtroom, you have lots of witnesses. So presumably that could be prosecuted separately.
Okay.
Alternatively, if the individual is convicted,
Hey, everybody, and welcome to a crazy, wild.
You see, so witness intimidation is a really big problem. You know, it happens in the court, outside of the court, and it starts with always the person's flying monkeys, the enablers, the supporters of the person. So this is what's going on with Jaronda Pace and all the other girls. They get intimidated. Look at what happened. R. Kelly's 3 associates, Michael Williams, Don Russell, Richard Arline, they all committed criminal acts of intimidation to try to stop these girls from coming forward, from telling their truth. Not lies, their truth. Because R. Kelly didn't want the truth out there. His flying monkeys did not want their king of R&B to be brought down. So they had to do everything they can in their power to cover up and to stop things from happening, to protect his image. Hey, 100. Hey, Missy. Hey, Aisha, T-Bam. What's up, ladies? Why intimidate a witness if you're claiming that she lied? I'm so confused by their thought process. Exactly. If the king of R&B is telling the truth, why do we have to cover up for him? I'm confused. How does this work? Right? That sounds good, but will that stop the witness intimidation if the court charges them with some steep charges? It will help. You know, that's the thing. It's the thing of, will the person get caught and will the person be reported? So, Jaronda, mommy, if you're listening to me and you're watching this video right now, I tagged you in it. Report these people. Report all of them. Ask for some protection. Let these people know that you don't feel safe. You know, they could get these people's IP addresses and find out who are these people that are trying to intimidate you. You can put a stop to it, mommy. You can put a stop to it. And you have to do it as soon as possible. Exactly. Okay? Now, here's the video with Jaronda Pace. And what she said. I'm going to share my video. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, so I want to just talk about something that I absolutely regret. And that is speaking out against R. Kelly and like just coming forward and telling my story. It has been so, so stressful. Like, I absolutely hate that I even decided to be strong and tell my story because, like, my life has not been the same. Like, nothing about my life has been the same. I haven't had a peace of mind or anything. I've been so stressed out about all of this. And I thought that once I told my story and filed charges and went through the trial and I testified and he was found guilty, I was like, okay, that's the end of it. I can finally close that chapter and just be done and move on. Like, now it's finally in my past. I can, officially like just start healing. I just officially wanted to heal. Like, I was like really excited that I could just, be myself. I can finally breathe. Like, that's no longer weighing me down, right? Wrong. Because today, Homeland Security showed up at my house and they're like, yeah, you have to testify. And I'm like, no, I don't want to testify. I don't want to go through that again. I testified in New York. I do not want to testify in Chicago. Like, I am done. In all honesty, I said, fuck it. Like, fuck it. I'm not doing it again. Leave me alone. And it was like, okay, well, if you don't, participate and, testify in this trial, then you don't have to. And I was like, okay. I'm sorry. They said if I don't want to, I don't have to. And I say, okay, good. It's like, but, however, you will be subpoenaed. And if you're subpoenaed, you have to show up. And if you don't show up, then you get arrested. And then after, get processed out, and then guess what? You still have to testify. So it's literally a catch-22 situation. It's like a lose-lose situation for me. Like, I don't want to do this. So, like, just leave me the fuck alone. But it's not that easy. And this is why I regret the shit. Like, I was subpoenaed to go to New York. I did not want to go to New York. It was literally 10 days before my due date. I'm 9 months pregnant, big as shit. Like, I was so big with Clay. I was huge. And I was like freaking out. I was like, what if I go into labor? I could have a baby in New York. And I so very badly did not want to do that. But I had to because it was the same thing. You either go and testify or you get subpoenaed. And if you don't show up, you get arrested. And guess what? You still have to testify. So it was one of those things. And I hated it so much. I was literally in New York for like 5 days. 5 days. And I was miserable. Like, you may see like a little jump or a little chop or whatever because my phone died. But in all honesty, I absolutely regret ever coming out. I just wish I could go back in time and just shut the fuck up. Like, I know this may rub some people the wrong way, but my life has been hell since like coming forward and everything. And since I spoke out about it the very first time in 2017, we have had to move several times because my safety is at risk. And guess what? Homeland Security can't guarantee my fucking safety. So I do not want to just keep testifying. This shit is just so fucking stressful. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But yeah, rant's over.
Well, there's a new
Yes, T-Bam, to your question, she does have to. The link that I put in the chat is to her video. You guys can go and leave a comment. And as a matter of fact, for those who have purchased Lizette's Jane Doe number 9 book, even if you didn't purchase it, please do me a favor and do Lizette a favor. Support her by just going to Amazon, find the book, and go to reviews and add a review. Okay? Please do so, guys. Thank you. So they're trying to keep her from testifying. She must be one of the main witnesses. This case will put him away for good. Well, you have to remember, she's in the Chicago sexual assault case. I don't remember if she's not in the federal case. I don't think she's in the federal case. She's in the state case. Because in the federal case, it's girls in the 90s, not in 2009 or 2010. It's girls from before that. Now JP is their focus. Lifeless motherfuckers irritate me, so I can't imagine how she feels. But none of them are doing anything to help their locked up king. Facts. I hope their sentence comes down before the Chicago trial and he gets at least 25 to life. That would be an ease for her to testify. I agree. A lot of these girls, you know, they feel comfortable to come out even more because he's in jail. He's behind bars. But remember, he still has these flying monkeys, these enablers, these people who just are willing to do his aiding and abetting and attack and attack and attack. You know? She already testified and she probably thought she was done with this situation and could finally move on with her life. Well, you're right. But you know what? Unfortunately, she can't because she had one more case to go. And that's the sexual assault case where it's her, Rashonda, Lanita, and Heather. Hey, West Coast. What's up, mama? Yeah, it's not her fault. It probably has. She said she cut it to show her kids self-love. Yeah. Yes, for the New York trial. But wasn't she involved in the Chicago first trial? Jaronda Pace? No, she was not involved in the first trial. She was just there to see the trial. She was a person in the public stands watching the trial. She was not involved in the trial at all. Hey, Lynn, what's up, baby? Ty, 100. What's up, my ladies? Yeah. Nicole. Miss you too, mommy. I miss you guys. I've been gone, yes. I'm more so disappointed in all the grown-ass female supporters that keep talking about these young ladies. Oh, you know what? Let me drop a little something real quick for that, Robin. Being that you said that, I'm going to I'm going to share this video that this young lady had. I seen this video and where is she? Let me hold on. She had something to say to the R. Kelly supporters, to all these crazy pea hives, as that's what I'm going to call the crazies. The crazy ones are pea hives. You know, the normal ones are the supporters. But these pea hives are outrageous. Let me find it real quick, y'all. And also, Kenny Bryant, which is the husband in Mississippi, who is suing R. Kelly, has written to the judge saying that, oh, here we go. Saying that he feels that R. Kelly's lawyers and stuff are pushing everything back and trying to postpone things because they don't want R. Kelly to take the deposition. But he has to do it. He was ordered to do it. So let me share this real quick with you guys. And this is from One Dope Psychologist. Shout out to you, sis. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to share her video. I'm going to put it in the chat. Go subscribe to her channel. Thank you, guys. One Dope Psychologist. That's the name of her channel. Shout out to you for this. And this is her reaction to surviving R. Kelly.
Okay, so as a psychologist, I have to speak out about the responses I've seen about surviving R. Kelly. I have been in absolute awe about the fact that the only comments of support for R. Kelly that I've seen have come from women. Men are the ones who are taught how to not get themselves in a situation of no means no, how to avoid getting charges of rape, how to recognize when a young girl is trying to present themselves as a woman and they say, no, I need to walk away from this. And they are saying that R. Kelly did not do his job as a man, that R. Kelly is not out here trying to protect the young girls of our society. They are not buying his statements of, oh, I thought she was older. She didn't look so young. They said that he should have known from her conversation, from the way that she moved, from the demeanor that she presented with. They are telling us that R. Kelly is a perpetrator, and we, the victims, the women that he is hurting, are supporting him, while the men who support us are telling us, no, he's wrong. Women, psychologically, from a mental health perspective, what is going on with us that we want to continue to support those very people who keep us victims, who hurt us, and that we don't want to support one another? We run around calling each other sis all day, but we do not support each other like sisters. We do not have a sisterhood, and there's a mental health issue inherent in that. We have to look at that. Those are my thoughts.
Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy, Kev.
Shout out to her. Okay. She's speaking facts. Exactly. You know, now, does a witness have to testify to convict the person? Now, testimony by a witness in a criminal case is evidence. A person can be convicted by witness testimony alone it is up to the attorneys to convince the jury that the testimony is true or not. However, it is for the jury to decide if they believe the testimony or how much weight to give it when deciding guilt or not. What can happen if a witness refuses to testify? The answer is the witness can be held in jail until he changes his mind and agrees to answer questions, or until the trial is over. Once the trial is over, the judge must release the reluctant witness. In this case, the witness served 2 weeks in jail and never testified. Now, what happens when a subpoenaed witness refuses to testify? That's what happens. They will go to jail. So she's saying she doesn't, but if they subpoena her, she has to. She has no choice. Don't be scared, Jaronda. Just do it, Jaronda. Go all the way. I know you're tired. I know, there's this thing called re-traumatized. I know you don't want to be re-traumatized. I know you don't. I get it. I understand. They're always being re-victimized, when they go to court. Now, re-traumatization, okay, which is also known as secondary victimization. Now, it describes the experience of survivors who encounter victim-blaming attitudes, behaviors, and practices from service providers and institutions, which results in additional trauma. So, in other words, re-traumatization refers to additional trauma during a survivor's interactions with professionals and processes in the justice system and other fields, whether it be medical, behavioral health, and even services designed for victims. Now, while individuals in these fields may be doing their best to help, they can unintentionally re-traumatize survivors through negative statements, behaviors, and attitudes. Survivors then experience these negative or unresponsive behaviors and process them as a further violation that echoes and relates to the original IPV, which is intimate partner violence, IPV. Okay, so it relates to the original intimate partner violence, where they experience at the hands of their abusers. Now, the term re-traumatization is most frequently used in the context of sexual assault, but also applies to any form of IPV or crime. It includes victim blaming and explicitly or implicitly accusing someone of failing to prevent what happened to them. It also includes other negative attitudes and behaviors, such as dismissive or unresponsive actions, as well as statements that minimize what the survivor has experienced. Now, research shows that intimate partner violence survivors who interact with the court system feel traumatized by the process and the legal system itself. The same has been found of survivors of sexual assault, and sometimes it overlaps the population. Violations of the interpersonal aspect of legal proceedings, such as whether one is treated with respect versus whether one is subject to victim blaming, insensitive remarks, and statements that minimize the harm caused by the abuse, are likely to have negative effects on a survivor. So this is true of experiences with both the criminal and the civil court system. Now, re-traumatization may be one of the most important factors contributing to a negative experience with the justice system. Women reported feeling blamed and disbelieved and felt that the abuse in their relationship had been dismissed because it was too complicated an issue for mediators to consider or discuss. In addition, women felt judged and blamed by the mediators, even in cases where the mediator believed that the abuse had occurred. In one example, the mediator told the woman in question that it was her fault that she had been the victim of violence because she should have given into the abuser's demands and given the abuser the phone right away. So it was her fault because she didn't want to give her man the phone that he was trying to take away from her. She should have just given it up. Then that wouldn't have happened. That's how they treated her. That's just an example of how the system treats victims. Like we're at fault. Everything is our fault. We wore the wrong clothes. We were out at the wrong time of night. We shouldn't have been alone. Or we should have known about this guy. Or why didn't we speak up? Because he was Uncle Joe down the block. In another, the mediator asks if he's such a con man, what the hell did you marry him for? All told, the Michigan study found that 37% of the women in the study reported experiencing re-traumatization by both the abuser and the mediator during the mediation. None of this is subset of women reported feeling safe, respected, free to speak, or empowered during the mediation. You know, they did a different kind of a study of sexual assault victims and found that victims are more likely to experience traumatizing attitudes by those around them if they present against the gendered stereotype of a hysterical crying victim. So this study found that women who adopted a numbered style of self-presentation as compared an emotional one experience more re-traumatizing behaviors by those around them, a phenomenon the researchers termed demeanor bias. So with respect to the criminal system, a study of crime victims in Germany found that 35% of rape victims and 23% of victims of physical assault frequently experience re-traumatization in criminal proceedings. So criminal proceedings were likely to cause negative psychological changes among crime victims. Okay, and some participants reported that the proceedings harmed them even more than the original crimes. And other studies have found that victims are likely to feel blamed by the perpetrator or the perpetrator's attorney in criminal trials. So maybe, Jaronda Pace was feeling some kind of pressures as well from being on the stand. Didn't she cry on the stand? But didn't she get very emotional on the stand? Wasn't she very hurt all over again? And then she has to do it again? So, yes, I don't blame her for feeling the way she's feeling. I don't. It's not her fault. You know? And re-traumatization has a chilling effect. It says that the risk of re-traumatization presents a serious barrier to justice, as it negatively influences survivors' choices in several ways. First, many may opt out of seeking help from the legal system entirely. One study of sexual assault survivors found that survivors chose, shall I say, not to continue disclosing their assault after experiencing negative reactions from formal and informal support providers. Second, some may settle for less than they would like in settlement negotiations or mediation. The result is a chilling effect on the participation of survivors in both criminal and civil court proceedings. Moreover, the chilling effect of a negative experience for one survivor can infect an entire community, resulting in distrust and reluctance to access the courts on the part of a large number of survivors. Now, in the civil context, many survivors settle for less in mediation or settlement negotiations. That's why a lot of them settle out of court and they don't go to court, just to avoid the humiliation and the re-traumatization all over again. A lot of people don't understand that. They say, oh, but why didn't they? Because they don't even want to go through with all of that. Let's just get something out of court, deal with it, and just move on with my life. Whether it makes me feel better or not, at least I let it out and I did what I had to do and people know about it. Whether they choose to believe me or not, I did what I had to do. I had to stand up. Whether I settled out of court or in court, whether I fought or I didn't fight, we're blamed either way. Now it says that they settle for less in mediation or settlement negotiations or opt out of participating in the legal system altogether for fear of being traumatized or dissatisfied, often because of previous experiences. Most of the mediation study participants in the study indicated that they would avoid going back to court, and some indicated that they would not even tell anyone else about the abuse because of the mediator's reactions. One mother, for example, wanted to request a safer custody arrangement, but did not object to the order because she was too worried the mediator would give the father full custody if she did. So, in the criminal context, courts that have incorporated impartial and independent victim advocates who provide confidential and informed support for survivors have noticed an increase in victims appearing in court. However, courts still report that many survivors do not appear for criminal hearings or refuse to cooperate with prosecutors. While some survivors may choose not to participate in proceedings because they deem it safer not to confront their abuser, or because of another rational reason. Reducing the likelihood of re-traumatization would at least decrease deterrence for those survivors who fear re-traumatization. Often a survivor's failure to appear results in prosecutors offering a plea agreement they would not have otherwise offered, or dismissing the case altogether. And that, in addition, survivors who had been through the criminal system once as victims may be less likely to want to participate again. Now, discussed above found that victims of crimes reported that their trust in the legal system and faith in a just world were negatively affected by their experience in criminal court. It's all about just reliving nightmares over and over again. Every time you have to go to the cops, you have to tell the story over and over again. Every time you go to the lawyer, you have to go and tell the story over and over and over again. Now, survivors benefit from telling their stories in their own way because it helps them to reestablish control over their lives and to avoid exposure to specific reminders of the traumas they had faced. Now, this is particularly the case for survivors who have PTSD or have repressed traumatic events as a coping mechanism. Now, the formalism of our legal system, on the other hand, requires survivors to fit their narratives into specific rules and procedures that survivors have no control over and which limit their ability to tell their own story as a meaningful narrative. Now, in other words, our legal system requires survivors to go through the trauma of reliving their experience without the safeguards that mental health professionals recommend for limiting the re-traumatization that can result from such retelling of their stories. Now, in an example, a girl gave her testimony on one day of a trial, but was then cross-examined by the attorney on another day several weeks later due to the court's busy calendar. Now, the spacing between her testimony was difficult, and she was also felt surprised to find herself on cross-examination having to explain the reasoning behind her decisions, when in her eyes, the focus should have been on the defendant's bad behavior. Now, while some courts deciding civil cases involving the intimate partner violence, that they have relaxed rules to allow for somewhat more informal proceedings, the resulting process still exceeds a lay person's knowledge and experience. Furthermore, the result process remains restrictive as to how and when survivors tell their stories. So for these reasons, the formalism of the court system is yet another factor that contributes to the differing expectations for judges and survivors. While judges are accustomed to formalism after years of training and may view formalism as a way of ensuring consistency for survivors, but formalism can contribute to re-traumatization. You know, like when we were reading the transcripts and listening to the transcripts, and you know how the judge kept trying to help the witnesses on the stand to answer the questions right and stuff like that, you know, that's all formal stuff. But things like that can re-traumatize the person again. You know, certain things, certain ways Everyone has to be sensitive. And, the focus on physical harm, another shortcoming of our legal system is that it has not found a way to adequately address how coercive control, including emotional and financial abuse, affects survivors. Now, coercive control describes an ongoing and multi-pronged strategy. It's a pattern, with tactics that include manipulation, humiliation, isolation, financial abuse, and gaslighting. Now, we all know this, that R. Kelly did these things to these girls. This is a form of control. These are forms of control. Coercive control is real. Now, to exert power over another person, all these things are to exert power over another person. Now, presenting evidence of coercive control may be significant in establishing a narrative of who was the primary aggressor in cases where there is also evidence of physical abuse, threats, harassment, or stalking. But on its own, such emotional and financial abuse is typically not sufficient to merit remedy by the legal system. That's not enough. According to the legal system, you also have to have evidence of the physical abuse and the threats and the harassment and the stalking. It can't just be, oh, he coerced me. There is no crime or civil penalty that punishes coercive control when it takes the form of manipulation, humiliation, isolation, or financial abuse. Most protection order statutes require the petitioner to establish that she has been the victim of assault, threats, damage to property, stalking, or harassment. Custody statutes that take into account with domestic violence typically defined domestic violence similarly. Survivors, on the other hand, often will tell you that the emotional abuse was worse than the physical abuse and may focus more on recounting emotional abuse during their testimonies. Accordingly, for survivors, understanding why the legal system is not interested in evidence of coercive control absent physical assault, threats, harassment, or stalking can be challenging, particularly given that coercive control can be indicative of future high-risk behavior as well as destructive parenting. Coercive control is real. People can control your mind, manipulate you, gaslight you, love bomb you. All these things. And these poor victims deal with a lot of this stuff. So let's see what you guys are saying out there. Let's see what you guys are saying out there. All right, let's see. Okay. They were minors at the time, so I'm not understanding, because if it was one of their children, what would they say then I say fuck all them rejects without lives. Yes, please hit the like button, guys. Hey, Top Notch, what's up, mama? Truth Strong, what's up, baby? Now, mine's, that's a different story. I will handle business for someone hurting minds. Amen. Let me reiterate, I will not go to jail for not testifying for a predator. Exactly. I will definitely do not be afraid to go do what you gotta do, mamita. Jaronda, do what you have to do, baby. And all you other women, do what you gotta do. Stand up. I know it has been a long wait. It's gonna be an even longer wait. Damn it to hell with this pandemic and everything that's going on right now. A lot of things have been backed up and they still will be backed up due to this pandemic. Unfortunately, you know, there's other things happening around the world, but you guys got to get through this. You got to be strong. Stand 10 toes deep. Put your boots to the ground. March in that courtroom. Stand and face him. No matter what. Fuck all these goddamn beehives and they threats. They just talking shit. And if you really feel that unsafe, report these motherfuckers. Report them all. Every last threat you get, you report it. No matter what, it's on record. Something happens to you, the finger will be pointed at R. Kelly and his henchmen, his goons, his flying monkeys, because he's in jail. But the finger will still be pointed at him, as we all know, pertaining to Don Russell, Michael Williams, and Richard Arline are just examples. Shall we make more examples? Shall we? Leave these girls alone. They've been waiting a long time for this. And time's up on R. Kelly. Period. And her hormones are probably out of whack. Hell, she had to testify while pregnant. Can we not stress her or her baby and family out? Let God work if y'all Kang is innocent. Thank you, Robin. Exactly. Yes, Diva Divine. She was under stress testifying pregnant. I can only imagine her mental state. Exactly. Like, come on. She was about to pop. She was about to give birth in like 10 days and shit. You know? Yes, you do, Robin. You do. You do. We need to see the pic, babe. I want to see your cutie ass already. She might be going through postpartum. Not every woman goes through postpartum. Oh, I'm pretty sure they have, T-Bam. I'm pretty sure. I wonder if someone has already contacted and threatened her family. Of course, she said she had to move. How many times? Exactly. Leave the witnesses the fuck alone. Thanks for making me cuss again this week. Darn it to heck. And as far as Dana, I love you, Dana. Lord. Mira, you fucking loco. Okay? Let me explain something here. Jaronda Pace has nothing to do with this appeal. None of these girls are going to be cross-examined by Bon Joan Jean, whatever her name is, Bon Jean. None of these girls are going to be in front of Bon Jean because Bon Jean is an appeal lawyer. She's only going to be in front of the appellate judges. It's 3 judges and the lawyers. That's it. That's all. Nobody else. And R. Kelly, if he has to sit in that hearing, because he might not even have to sit in that hearing. None of these girls are going to be cross-examined. None. Bo Jean ain't going to see none of them. None. And the girls that are in the federal case will only be seen by the federal lawyers in Chicago. And that's Greenberg and Leonard and Nicole and what's the other one? Farinella. Canick and Scholar are not Chicago lawyers. So they have nothing to do with Chicago. None of those people will see Canick or Scholar. None of them. Those lawyers were only for the New York trial. They are not in the Chicago case. Okay? All right. Just correcting you where you're wrong. All right now. I'm Queen. What's up, loca? Yeah, these dumb R. Kelly bloggers want to intimidate her so that she don't have to testify. Yeah, I had seen something which was really like, hold up. Let me go look at it real quick. Hold up. Now that you mentioned that I am queen, you just reminded me, babe. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, Choke No Joke had put up something on his community wall. And he said, the R. Kelly survivors are coming forth with regrets. Jaronda Pace breaks her silence and regrets being involved in the case and doesn't want no more parts of the Chicago case. Are the letters touching souls? They make me cry. Truth is powerful. Hey, Jenny Bon Jean, Jennifer, here's a little something for your notes. One of the alleged victims in the R. Kelly trial, Jaronda Pace, has just come forward and claims that she didn't want to testify in the New York trial and was subpoenaed, and now she's being forced to testify in the Chicago trial against her will and threatened with jail time. Okay. Now, we just watched Jaronda's video. Did she say she didn't want to testify against R. Kelly in New York? No, she did not say that. What she said was she doesn't want to do it again. She regrets doing it in the first place altogether, coming out because of all the backlash. Okay? Then he says, Jaronda, I thank you for having a conscience and coming forth and telling the world that you regret what you did to R. Kelly. We know that you can't take it back, but we appreciate you letting the public know that you are being forced against your will to testify again and you don't want to. She didn't regret anything that she did to R. Kelly. The only thing she regrets was coming forward because of the backlash. It all has to do with people threatening her and intimidating her. She's had to move how many times? You dumb ass motherfuckers just don't get it. She just doesn't want to do it again. She doesn't want to relive the nightmare again. She's relived it a million times and she's still living it. And unfortunately, Jaronda Pace, you will live it forever. But it's just something you got to move on. Move forward. Be strong, move forward. Leave it in the past and just keep moving. Once all of this is done and he's convicted of everything, you can live your life in peace. You might still get people here and there who are going to threaten you, but like I said, report them. Everything. Do what you have to do, whatever it is to protect you and your family. Then he continues to say, all you need to do, like the rich folk, is hire a lawyer and tell them you don't want to participate in the trial, or just plead the Fifth Amendment on the witness stand, like those who don't want to. It is best that you seek some kind of legal counseling to make sure you don't break the law. However, you shouldn't be forced to testify if you don't want to. And I get that. You shouldn't have to be you shouldn't have to. But you know what? You're here. It's time. You can do it. You're strong. You're real strong. You had 5 kids, girl. You could do it. You went through all this already. I know you have to relive your pain over and over again every time. But you're strong and you can do it. Don't listen to these people. Jaronda, don't listen to these people. You hear me? Do what you have to do. Fight. Fight for all these other children who are out there in the world being abused every day, who don't have that voice. Be that voice. Continue to be that voice. Then he continues to say, I know it took a lot to do this video, but I'm sure R. Kelly, family, friends, and fans appreciate you being the first and only person to admit feeling guilt and wish you hadn't done it. That's big. I'm sure R. Kelly's words may have touched her heart. I see now I definitely need to finish what I started because clearly the truth is about to set Kels free. Thank you, Jaronda. No, we don't appreciate that. Choke, no joke. That was not cool. I'm sorry. She's doing what she has to do. And she's very brave for coming out against this man. And his demons. His demon spawns. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Okay. All right, let's block this guy here. Oh, an error occurred. Okay. Hey, Indigo, what's up, mama? Okay. Okay, but he thought he was greater than his maker and got a big wake-up call. Sit your stank ass down since you didn't seek help with that money, but tried to control shit and lost control. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Yeah, she needs to report. Hey, Flawless, what's up, mama? West Coast. Canic, where you twerking? Right. Hey, Shorty, what's up, mama? Right, exactly, Ty. No victim or witness should have to go through this shit. None. None. Joke is too catfishy for me. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I saw some of Levi's video. I didn't get to see it all. I saw a little bit. Yeah. That was Choke No Joke, Fat Boy. Hey, Callie King. What's up, baby? Welcome, welcome. Welcome to my channel, baby boy. What's up, y'all? Say hello to Callie King, guys. Go check out his channel. He talks about bikes and stuff. He's like a biker club guy. So Vinci, if you're into bikes, you're gonna like his channel. Yeah. So I just wanted to encourage Jaronda Pace and all the other girls today. Okay? You guys can do it. You guys can do it. You've gone this far. Go all the way. Do not give up. Do not give up this fight. We will be there for you in Chicago. We have a couple of our girls out there who will be there to support you. So don't be scared. Jaronda, Lanita, Rashonda, Heather, you girls, don't be scared. And all the other girls that are in the federal case, the other 4 minors who we don't know. You girls can do it. Stand up. Stand tall and fight. Shoulder to shoulder, guys. You can do it. You have support. You're not alone. You sent something to my phone? Okay, hold on, mama. I gotta go get my phone. My phone's charging. Joshua. Oh, today, guys, just wanted to let you guys know today is my grandmother's birthday. She's 91 years old today, y'all. Hey, Karen Johnson. What's up, mama? Okay, I'm going to it now. Let me see. I'm going to it now. Oh, um,
Since our last interview, R. Kelly.
oh, Tyson Bedford's clip. I don't know if I'm gonna get striked because it's DJ Vlad. I don't want to get striked for playing his video, Ty. But I could play what he was saying. That boy, I love you too.
Was found guilty. Yeah. On all counts. Yeah. Did you ever run into R. Kelly? Anything of that sort? No. Nah, I either. But I remember back when all this shit started coming out about what he was doing. I remember myself and Jay-Z was so outspoken about it. And, you know what I mean? I don't, like, pedophiles, pedos, I don't like them motherfuckers, yo. I will, you know what I mean? I'll catch a body on one of them motherfuckers. Because the innocence of a child is so important to the world. Because if you look at a lot of the criminals in jail, they were all, a lot of them, some of them were molested, you know, and that's why immediately when those kind of people go to jail, they're the first ones to get it. You know what I mean? And for me, I love kids. You know, I got nephews, nieces, and yo, I'll kill somebody who touch one of my children. You know what I mean? Even the kids in my neighborhood, like, you know, my little neighbors next door, they're like 5 and 6. They come over and they start talking to me about school and life, and you know, and I ask them how they doing. Yo, if their mother or father came to me and say, "Yo, I need you to help me do something. Somebody touched my child," I'd be like, "Yo, what time and how we doing this? We getting bloody or we getting, you know, how we doing this? Should I bring my silencers? What we doing?" So I don't appreciate people like him. So when she did that and that came out, and then he was messing with the little girls that married Aaliyah, I was like, this dude ain't cool. You know what I mean? But then I got shunned and looked at like I was crazy. But even though he got guilty on all those charges, his music went up 500% in sales. Like, you gotta ask yourself, lad, who the fuck is these people? Do you not understand this is wrong?
Hey, Raw.
Like, this man did something wrong, but you gonna run out and buy his music? Nah, man. I think all that money that went into people buying the records should go to those kids, those girls that he touched in those ways. Oh, I want to see him get it in jail. I want to see him get it. Every day they should shake him somewhere different. His leg, his arm, his eye. You know what I mean? Just be a shank pillow all day. You know what I mean? And fuck anybody that's down with him. Because you advocating pedophile and all that shit. That's fucking wrong, man. Fuck R. Kelly. Fuck you, Robert Kelly. Bitch ass. Never liked you no way. Shit. Motherfucker talking about coming out of the closet. In there doing all kind of shit with people's kids. Fuck is wrong with that shit, man? That shit ain't cool, bro. I got a whole gang of homeboys who just like me, who will light motherfucker up that's a pedophile. Fuck that shit. That shit is just wrong, man. There's so many grown-ass women out here, and you want a child. What does that say about you? I know his sister molested him, so that's the problem with this thing. We need to just stop putting them in jail and just cut off this stuff and be like, all right, here you go. You're out in society. You have no nuts and you have no balls and dick. This is how you're going to live. You know? Put them out there like that. We just need to just clip them. Because that's the only thing that's going to work for them, man. I know it's something sick in their head, you know, that they look at a child or a baby like, no, That's an innocent being. No, don't touch that. You can go hire a prostitute, bro. That shit pissed me off, bro. Really upset my day. And I was happy he got all of that. And that was our one court. He still got to go to Chicago and all these other places. Yeah, he's got like 2 more trials coming up, but I think if he gets a long enough sentence, it's not really going to matter. No, it ain't going to matter. 100 years, shit. You're just going to run concurrent. I just don't want him to commit suicide. I want him to rot for a while, you know? I don't want him to take the easy way out. I want him to really ride this shit the fuck out, you know? I want to be 101 and hear that he's still in there suffering. You know, he done been raped so many goddamn times.
Well, that was Tyson Bedford. All right, baby. Got it, Granny. All right, so now there's this little video that talks about addressing witness intimidation, and encouraging witness cooperation. So I'm going to play a little bit of this and just pay attention, guys.
I will now turn it over to Christine Hammond.
Thank you, Cynthia. Welcome everyone to the webinar. The topic of today is to discuss witness intimidation and various approaches that prosecutors can take to reduce intimidation and increase witness cooperation. We'll start with a very basic question, which is, what is witness intimidation? And I'm sure for anyone who's a prosecutor, this continuum of consequences of witness intimidation is well known to everyone, but it's worth going through. One aspect of intimidation will cause a witness never to come forward, so you won't even know that they exist. Even if you do know they exist, they may refuse to cooperate. Even if a witness has come in and is cooperating, they may stop cooperating and refuse to testify. Some come in and testify, but they may testify falsely. Others who've testified accurately may then subsequently recant. And finally, the worst result of all is the injury or death of a witness. But every one of these factors is influenced by witness intimidation. And we are going to discuss today various things that prosecutors can take to try and minimize the impact of witness intimidation on our cases. Intimidation of witnesses has moved online, as everything else has. And so here is just an example of a Facebook page where a witness face was put in a wanted ad because he had cooperated. Here is a tweet where redacted police paperwork was tweeted along with the name of a witness so that people know that this person was cooperating with the police. We've seen videos that reveal that. We've seen videos of witnesses being beaten up as a result of participating in a criminal trial. And needless to say, all you have to do is see that once and it's easy to be deterred. But as prosecutors, we can't just give up and say people are not going to cooperate. We do have to work and try and see what we can do in order to make people feel comfortable coming forward. And there is no one answer to this. You have to work every angle. So, of course, working with victim witness advocates is essential. They are the front line of this effort to try and get our witnesses and victims feeling comfortable enough to come forward. We also have to investigate claims of intimidation. We must have, as prosecutors, legal strategies to protect our witnesses as best we can. The courts have to help us. This cannot be done by the prosecutor alone. And the community also has to be part of the solution in getting people to come forward and testify on behalf of our cases. So all of these things require different strategies, and none of just one of these can accomplish the goal. So there are some basic principles to dealing with victims and witnesses, is that, and I'm going to talk about this in greater detail, is that you need coordination of all the players, police, advocates, community, coordination from the moment of the crime scene all the way through trial and after trial as to what services and what message is being conveyed to victims and witnesses. We should talk to our victims and witnesses in a trauma-informed way. We should be culturally aware of who our victims and witnesses are, so that we treat them with the respect that their culture expects. We should stay in touch with them on every case, and we should do the best we can to help the victims where they need it, as opposed to them always having to come to us for help. We can go to them. So these are just basic principles that underlie every aspect of our approach to victims and witnesses. Now, I want to sort of overlay this lecture with considerations about the virus, and I will just discuss those issues as we move along. But we all know, and from reading articles and from our own experience, that this has had a devastating effect on the criminal justice system and on our victims and witnesses. We've heard, of course, of the fears we have about increased domestic violence, increased child abuse, increased elder abuse, all the kind of abuse that can go on behind closed doors when there's nobody watching. The other concerns are that many of the services and resources available to victims and witnesses may be shut down or operating in a different way. So I will discuss various aspects of this as we move through the presentation. So we're going to go chronologically through a case and how police and prosecutors interact with victims and witnesses. And I think, for just to keep it easy, I'm just going to refer to everyone as witnesses as opposed to victims and witnesses. But we're going to start at the beginning, start at the crime scene, and work our way through the trial. And each aspect has its own challenges. So needless to say, the first place that a witness is met is at the crime scene, and the most likely person to meet that victim or witness is a police officer. This photograph is a little unrealistic because often our witnesses don't point fingers right then and there, and officers usually find them in a more quiet corner, but it is the officer who usually identifies who that witness is. That officer can begin the process of doing a risk assessment. This tattoo, it's a little cut off in this slide, but this person has a kill all helpful because they have a much better ability to assess threats and to provide assistance in how to deal with the threats. So, and finally, when the prosecutor meets, again, you to planning, social worker. The other person that can be extremely helpful to a victim advocate, who is often a non-lawyer, sometimes a social worker, occasionally a clinician that can actually provide some counseling. But another member of the team that's very helpful is to have an actual investigator, someone with police experience, a law enforcement person who can assist with safety planning, relocation, and dealing with threats. So having a police officer in your, or a retired police officer who's on your staff to participate in this is often some jurisdictions charging documents without mentioning the name of the witness. Now, high bail in this environment is also difficult. There's a real pressure on courts and jails and prisons to release people because of the pandemic. The more information you have Brady and Giglio obligation, a watermark placed over discovery. One thing to think about, though, in redacting and protecting witnesses is we still do have Brady and Giglio obligations. So we do have to remember to turn over witnesses' inconsistent statements. People often have gotten in trouble or have sometimes gotten in trouble by forgetting to turn over benefits that they've given to witnesses, such as putting them up in a hotel overnight during a trial or giving them transportation money, things that seem pretty de minimis, yet they do have to be turned over as Brady and Giglio material, at least in most jurisdictions would deem it that way. So once you get to a hearing and trial, I think it is useful to make sure that your judge has a sense of responsibility for the safety of your witness. And judges are often kind of hands off when it comes to that. Pennsylvania had a very big witness intimidation problem that was revealed in a series of newspaper articles that then triggered the development of a bench book for judges. And this bench book for judges that was written by a collaboration of criminal justice partners provided information to judges about how they themselves can protect witnesses in the courts, and see what the courts are doing to put them on notice that they have some responsibility here. So one thing to think about is that there are these different things that can be done during the course of the trial, and in part 2 of our webinar, more of this will be discussed as to how you can introduce prior acts of intimidation, forfeiture by wrongdoing, and things like that. But, and all of that you can start lining up through motions of in limine before the trial begins so that you can get the judge's agreement on these matters before things get out of control. And one of the things, aside from evidentiary issues that you can ask, is how is the judge going to control the courtroom? Can the courtroom be closed to certain people or certain things? For example, can you keep out cell phones? Can you ask for someone's identification before they come into the courtroom? These are all issues that can be resolved in advance. So courthouse security is another thing that is worth knowing about, because this is it's a little hard to tell, but these are 2 court officers who are wrestling an unruly defendant. But there is
took in getting to remote hearings, for example, who proposed the idea
way inadvertently.
We have questions.
Yes. Yep.
Can you talk to the process New York took in getting to remote hearings? For example, who proposed the idea and to whom, and how quickly it was implemented?
So we're not there yet. We've only gotten notice within the past few days that this is going to begin. New York's system is different from most of the country because we are not allowed to have hearsay in our preliminary hearings. So that means that we have to bring our actual witnesses to a hearing. So this is all under discussion right at the moment, and we're trying to figure it out. The courts don't know what they want to do, and we're waiting to hear from them. However, other jurisdictions are doing this. So in California, in San Diego, for example, they have been doing remote preliminary hearings for a while. They do not require hearsay at the preliminary hearing. And so far, it has been relatively successful, and they're doing more and more of it. And if anyone is interested, San Diego has written a guide on how to conduct a preliminary hearing remotely.
Can you talk about the process that New York used to get approval for redaction and who was involved in this process?
As I mentioned, we have a new discovery statute, and that statute governs what we are allowed to redact. Unfortunately, the prosecutors were not particularly consulted when they drafted the legislation. So just continuing, the witness preparation. Another thing to think about is to make sure that the witness is familiar with where they're going in the courthouse and how you're going to get them to and from. And so they're not upset or rattled simply by the unfamiliarity of where they're going and where they'll be sitting. So what I would recommend from all of this is there is much more to the many different facets of what it takes to protect a witness than we'd previously thought about. All of these things, from legal strategies, courtroom security, relocation, social services, are all almost its own specialty. And I would recommend designating someone in every prosecutor's office, a lawyer, who is familiar with all of those things, so that if someone in the office is suddenly confronted with a witness intimidation issue, which happens unexpectedly on a Friday afternoon when nobody's around, nobody knows what to do, it is useful to know who can be called in the office, not just the victim advocate, but someone who has the legal strategies for how to deal with intimidated witnesses. And that can also include witnesses who are in custody, cooperating witnesses who are in custody. That's a whole nother issue, is how do you protect witnesses who are in custody? So that's number one recommendation. Make someone an expert in your office to study all of the things that I've mentioned. Secondly, have training for your office. Do your prosecutors know what services are available? Do your prosecutors know what your victim advocates can do and not do? And thirdly, it's useful to designate a prosecutor investigator, someone, a former police officer, to have expertise in protecting witnesses.
And there you have it, guys. And I see you. I am Queen Newton. And you see this link that I'm putting in the chat, guys? I am following this writer. His name is H.G. Tudor. And I have a book of his called Evil. Now, he himself is a narcissist. And a lot of his books talk about narcissism and narcissists and how they work. And I do want to read his book to you guys one day. It's called Evil. But I'm going to play a little video. I put this channel link in the chat. It's his channel. Please subscribe, share. Okay. I'm going to play a little clip of his. Okay. And it's called Victim or Volunteer is the title. And okay, here we go. Let me share this, and then I'm gonna end this live after this, guys. I'm just throwing some little gems at you guys. I notice you guys have been very active in the community, on my channel, in the community wall. Thank you so much. I have been doing little things, dropping little gems and information for you guys to, take in, read, understand, and please leave your comments if you have any comments in there. I want to hear you guys' comments. And thank you. All right, here we go.
Seduction, victim or volunteer. I seduced you. There is no doubt that this happened. I was the protagonist, and I brought you under my spell. But let us go a little further back. I chose you. I identified you as a prospect, and then undertook my investigative work to determine that you had what I was looking for. You did. And then I began to gather the material that would aid my seduction of you. You had no idea that you had walked into my sights. You had no idea that my gaze followed you around the room, that I observed where you worked, where you lived, and began the careful assimilation of information about who you are from your friends and your online presence. In fact, your social media
Thank you,
contribution was
Raw.
instrumental in allowing me to ascertain that you fitted the profile that I required in those that I target. Not only that, your tendency to plaster your life over the internet provided me with a plethora of material to use in my seduction. More than most, I felt I really did know you before I even met you. There are enough warnings about remaining safe online, plenty of guides about how to be secure in your internet dealings and to chart the waters of cyberspace in an enjoyable yet cautious manner. Not that you paid any regard to this, as comments, photographs, location tags, and such like were thrown like broadcasted seeds out into cyberspace. You posted photographs which showed the inside of your home. It was easy enough from your frequent location tags to work out the neighborhood where you lived, and then using the photographs to identify which was your house. You didn't see me sat in the car outside as I waited one morning for the confirmation that that was where you lived. I had a good look through your windows as well, seeing as how you opened all of the blinds, and that hedge meant nobody saw me taking note of what lay within your house. Some might say that such an approach meant you asked for what happened. Would it be uncharitable to suggest that your lax approach to sharing your life on social media caused you to stand out as a ready target? It wasn't difficult to engage you. You are, after all, a bright and vivacious person with many friends. Indeed, those friends enjoy talking about you to people, and they offered up much more information about you. Perhaps you should reconsider who you trust with information about yourself. I was always pushing on an open door with you, and even the surprising hesitancy you showed when I suggested we sit in a booth together in that bar was soon overcome as I began to mirror you. Didn't you think it was strange that I just happened to like jet skiing, was apparently a member of the same club as you, that I loved Thai food and enjoyed dance music? Our mutual love of rugby, I had to swap up on that, admittedly, provided the opening for a date at a rugby match. Didn't you think it was unusual that we clicked on so many levels? Or were you just swept away by the fact that we did, and therefore never gave it a second thought? Some might suggest that this was opening up to my charms rather too quickly, or are they being unduly critical of you? We attended the rugby in the afternoon, and I'd already arranged dinner at a restaurant that I knew you often frequented. You expressed such delight at this surprise by planting a huge kiss on my lips. I know you're an excitable person, but did you ever stop to think how, out of the thousands of restaurants in this city, I knew that this one was your favorite? You did actually ask me as we dined how I knew about this place, and I lied by saying a client had recommended it to me. When you explained it was your favorite, I feigned surprise, of course, and added that I just thought you might like it. You did not notice how I was able to secure a booking on a Saturday evening and an excellent table to boot. But then, how were you to know about the slipped notes passed to a member of staff? After all, I move with an air of considered confidence, so it all fitted together, didn't it, that I would command such close attention from the waiting staff through the evening? You even missed the fact that, somewhat inebriated, I was able to tell the taxi driver where you lived. I had become somewhat amused at how easy this was proving to be. Your readiness to down glass after glass of wine in the company of someone you'd not met that long ago. Well, was that remiss of you? Or was it understandable, given the way I made myself seem so familiar to you through my background work on you? I decided to let slip your address to the taxi driver, even though you hadn't given it to me. Yet you completely missed this. As I helped you into the taxi, ever the gentleman, you missed the almost reptilian smile I gave. I didn't. I saw it reflected back at me in the window of the taxi. I had early plied you with plaudits and listened to you offer me up even more information, telling me where you worked, what you did there, information about your colleagues, taking me through your relationships with your family, your favorite musicals, and so on. I logged it all as you opened up to me, pouring so much knowledge in my direction. There are those who might consider that to be a natural thing to do, the social lubrication which makes the interpersonal relationship easier, and who is to say they are wrong? You accepted my compliments with good grace and returned them, which pleased me considerably. You were demonstrating you were coming under my control in the instant and more generally, and you were providing me with fuel. I had to stop myself laughing out loud as you declared those phrases which told me that all lights were set to green. I feel like I've known you for years, you said. This is wonderful. We have so much in common. You know me so well, it is fantastic. I threw a few of our well-used favourites back at you. I think we were fated to meet. I never clicked with anybody the way that I have with you. I know it's only the second time that we have spent together, but I feel such a connection with you. I may as well have stood on the restaurant table and waved a huge red flag in front of you, with klaxons blaring in the background. You didn't notice. Was that negligent of you? Ought you, as a self-professed intelligent and independent person, to have seen these warnings and acted on them? Perhaps you did, and decided that the risk was worth taking. If that was the case, I know that there are people who would then regard you as consenting to the subsequent entanglement with some degree of knowledge that something wasn't quite right, but you were happy to waive this concern. It was too tempting to miss out on someone like me. Was that how it flashed through your mind? The dates came and went, and my tendrils wrapped around you. I stayed over in your house on the second date. You yielded readily to my overtures, and we engaged in frenetic athletic lovemaking, which enabled me to play one of my aces. It was following one such energetic coupling that you held me, and with sincerity shining from your eyes, whispered that you felt that you were falling in love with me. I smiled and nodded, because after all, love comes quickly with our type, and I was positively delighted that you'd given this indication even before I had opportunity to play that particular card. Did you replay that conversation and all the other beautiful ones we had that evening of lovemaking? Of course you did. You always do, because the recall of such scintillating times causes a soaring sensation in your chest. Did you evaluate what this meant? Did you consider it against other relationships in order to benchmark it? Some might suggest that the cautious and sensible would do so and apply some slowing touches and undertake some verification of everything that you were being told, but you didn't. Was that slipshod of you? You were given the signs, you were handed the warnings, they were plain enough to see, many of them were conventional in nature. I only hid them in plain sight, as I always do. Perhaps you were at fault for not paying heed to them. Then again, how could you be expected to resist me? I've done this so many times, and you, surprisingly, haven't been seduced by my kind's behavior already. I bet you have said the label attached to my type less than half a dozen times. How could you be expected to put up any resistance when you're being flattered and wooed and bribed in such a convincing manner? Why would you stop someone from being so pleasant? Who would? Maybe it is an entirely unfeeling and harsh judgment who expects you to know better and remain vigilant. You let me in. You opened the door and left it open whilst providing me with a key to it, and the back door too. You allowed me to permeate every element of your life, from your bed to your buddies. Should you have listened to that one friend who cautioned you against moving so quickly? She was just bitter, wasn't she? After all, that is what we told you, and why on earth would you have any reason to disagree with us? Your family all felt I was wonderful, even your sister, who in the past has been notoriously difficult to please. Actually, she isn't. You just need to know what to say, but that's a different story. So you could be forgiven for deeming her and their reactions as an accurate weather gauge of who I was. How could you have known what was coming? You are no clairvoyant. And who would not have taken advantage of being chosen by such a seemingly wonderful, charming, magnetic, and loving person as I? All my friends spoke highly of me. Didn't you pick up on how rehearsed they often sounded when lauding my attributes? No? Never mind. It was too much to expect you to do so, wasn't it? On went our relationship, two entwined lovers, the world at our feet, happiness all around us, a beautiful and enchanting romance. Who would not want such a thing? You have to have an open heart, haven't you? Otherwise, you can never be happy. You have to trust, don't you? Otherwise, you'll never find anybody. You have to bare your chest and lift your throat to the world. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and so forth. Anybody else would have done the same, surely. Are you to be judged by the universal standard and forgiven for not seeing a predator making his way towards you, snaking his tendrils about you, and sinking those sugar-coated fangs into your naive neck? Or ought you have noticed, but became too caught up in your fantasy of perfect love that you blinded yourself? Does that make you culpable? Then again, did you see the signs but actually ignore them, content to brush them to one side because your heart told you that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be with me? Were you a victim, or did you actually volunteer?
You see? You see how he seduced her? Now, was she a victim or was she a volunteer? You see how he was a snake? He was a chameleon. Convincing her all these things, putting these things in her head. And she was just eating everything up. Falling and falling and falling and falling into his trap. Right. She was a volunteer. But in reality, she was a victim. He made her think she was a volunteer. But in reality, she was a victim. Crazy, right? See how smooth and charming a narcissist can be? And they set you up for the bang in the end. You gotta watch out for these people. That's right. Stay awake. Stay awake. And thank you, Karen Johnson. Right. She was a victim. In his eyes, she was a volunteer. In her eyes, she was a volunteer. But in reality, she was a victim. Guys, go check out HG Tudor. Please subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of things up there. I mean, great things up there. I have a couple of clips and stuff like that that we could go through of his. He preyed upon her, exactly. He preyed upon her, and she didn't even, he threw such a wool over her eyes that she was like, ooh, yes, baby. Yes, I'm in love. Hey, I will do anything for you, baby. I don't have to talk to my friends. Why am I listening to my friends? I don't want to listen to my friends. They don't know what they're talking about. You're right. You're right. You're right. It's crazy. So that was the end of that, guys. I will come back another day with some more commentary. And definitely going to read Demetrius Smith's book. I put up a poll. Only a few of you guys voted. And you guys voted on Demetrius Smith's book to continue that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the book, and then I'm just going to upload them as a video upload. I'm not going to do a live. Fat boy, stop. I'm going to slap you. So next time, my next video, I'm going to introduce you guys to Judge Ann Donnelly. All right. That's what we're going to do the next time I come back. We're going to talk about Judge Donnelly. All right. You're very welcome, guys. Girl, it's all good. Watch the replay, whatever you guys have to do. Just make sure you don't forget to hit that like button on the way out, okay? And if you guys would like to donate to the channel, donations are appreciated. I have Zelle, I have Cash App, and I have PayPal. And I also have a super chat. You guys can hit the super chat up. And I'm going to take you out with this. Please don't forget, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell on the side. Put it on all. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out as well. And if you would like to leave a comment on the video, please do. Thank you. And if you are not...
Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears and your eyes. Diva Divine Light, live from Brooklyn, New York.
No delaying for what you saying, yo. Silly with my 9 milli with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club, I be while in the studio. You don't wanna vibe, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. Like a nigga that'll slap me with the tulio. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, nigga, shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way you shake it, nigga, wanna get all in the booty, yo. With no delaying for what you saying, yo.
Diva Divine Light.
Really my heart to be. That's what you got for me. Good more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you really my heart to be. That's what you got for me. Good more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a place to be. If you.
You're watching Diva, the Divine Light. A fun-loving, caring, passionate person who talks about sex, celebrity, and real-life issues, and even abuse. So hit that like button and make sure you share the show.
Really my heart to be. That's what you got for me. Good more than hands with my eyes to see. Still $1 in a